Welcome back to the Nordic Championship, where this exciting game will be between Celestial Gaming and Fortress. Yet again, Norway versus Denmark. And what do we think about this game, Henning?
This is going to be very exciting because we don't know that much about Fortress. They've got some pretty well-known players. Cesar is a very experienced Danish jungler who's been in the Nordic scene for a while, but did take a break quite recently. Also, the mid laner Niter. I've heard he's very skilled, especially on some champions like Yasuo, who's really strong at the moment. But he's also not been, like, he's not too experienced, doesn't have too many tournaments under his belt. So Fortress is kind of this like rough diamond that could be a really good team, but we've not quite seen them come together yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is spot on, as they have all of these different components that they need to be this fantastic team, but they haven't played that much together, which can prove to be something very difficult to handle when you play versus Celestial Gaming, who've been playing together forever.
Yeah, for sure. They've been playing together for weeks and Celestial Gaming for years, so we'll see if individual skill beats experienced, or if Celestial Gaming might even be the more skilled individual team as we jump into the pick and ban and see what these two teams have been cooking up for us.
Also worth to mention is that Ventus Esports, that Celestial Gaming played against before this, they came in as the #1 seed from Denmark. Fortress is the 2nd seed. Celestial Gaming went toe-to-toe, went 2-1. It's Ventus Esports, so I don't know. Fortress might be in for a good fight right here. Cardus is the first ban by Fortress, and Celestial Gaming bans Jasso.
I'm so happy, almost, or even more relieved than happy.
Are you really happy, though?
Because I've been talking about Yasuo all day, about how strong of a pick it is, and all these teams have been like, no, we're not even going to be banning or picking Yasuo ever. And then finally Yasuo bans, so the viewers can tell that I am not just making stuff up. Well, sometimes I am, but usually
Most
not.
of the time you aren't. Like, Yasuo is a really strong champion, so he's not going to be played this game. Celestial Gaming also banning the Ivern, and the Lucian is not something that Lil Ambivert will be able to play this time. Although, are they doing a role swap here, as Zondia now is on the marksman spot? So I'm not sure if it's going to be Lil Ambivert in mid lane, or if this is something just that the players kind of messed up. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're about to find out, but if you saw the last series, you could see that Ambivert was AD carry and Zondia mid lane, and two of the big champions that we've been seeing banned every game so far are still open, Urgot and Sylas. Can only ban away one of them if you want to, so if you're Fortress, you can like ban Urgot, force Celestial Gaming to take the Sylas if you want to, or do the strategy which I would prefer, which is banning none of them, give Celestial Gaming the opportunity to take either Urgot or Sylas, and then you take the other one.
Absolutely, as Xin Zhao has now been the last ban, Celestial Gaming not banning anything for their last, so leaving a lot of things open on the table, or a lot of things, one more champion up for grabs as they go for the Jace as the first pick.
I think I would go Urgot here if I was in Fortress's choose. Sylas is also a very strong champion, but probably the worst matchup that you can put him in is into the Jace, being able to put down so much ranged harass early on, and then also not having an ultimate to steal. So Urgot, I think, would be a strong pick. With a Sejuani, you would get a very strong front line, but instead they're opting for the Ezreal.
Yeah, the Ezreal is going to be another champion that we've seen a lot today, as Ezreal is really strong, even in this new item kind of patch with this extra crit difference, or rather the revert back to the sort of old style crit marksman, and now you see the Ezreal being stronger than ever. Also, the Thresh for Eski, something that didn't quite work out in their previous series, but might prove to be something stronger this time around.
Yeah, I think into a lane versus two immobile champions, the Janna and the Jinx, you really should land more hooks than he did in that game. Goes together with the Caitlyn though, so with the Jace, we're already seeing the components of a very strong early game comp where we're going to be having a lot of early game pushing in all of the lanes, and a very strong sieging comp. You can see both Caitlyn and Jace being able to make minced meat out of these towers really early on, take down those tower plates. So if you're Fortress, you really have to pick some strong engage or strong wave clear to counter this.
And with these turret plates generating so much gold, having that kind of a team composition is something that has proven to be so much stronger now than it used to be before the turret plating. Is where, sure, if you got the first tower blood, that was great, but if you didn't get it, it was sort of like a half-dead turret just standing there, not having generated anything for your team.
Yeah, for sure, and we can see the Soa getting banned out versus the sort of a poke comp that they've got, which I really do enjoy. Karthus is also a big champion that's on the banning list so far. I am looking for the Silas still, if any team should like to pick that up. I think Celestial Gaming could definitely pick up a Silas and then have both him and the Jace being able to flex mid and top lane and be able to pick the most beneficial matchups for them. You've got the Sejuani ulti, which is very good to steal. You've also got the Ezreal ulti, which is pretty strong as well. So would enjoy seeing a Sylas here in this game. Also Sion, kind of the big top lane tank that we're still looking for here, that is open after the Urgots getting banned away.
Absolutely, and Dipsy not going to be able to play Lee Sin versus this Sejuani as he has been banned. The Urgot, as you mentioned, and finally now the Lissandra ban for Celestial Gaming. So for the mid lane, there's a lot of open champions. Last game, they were trying with the Rises. Sondia's Rise, kind of, you felt like it never really popped off. Like, you just scales forever, but they fell behind and nothing really happened with it, which is a huge problem when you play a scaling champion and you never get to that point when you feel like all that time actually paid off.
Yeah, did really not have a good game right there. Was getting camped by my mates Lee Sin and Priscornet Syndra, and he couldn't really do anything, just got bursted down 100 to 0 every time. And speaking of 100 to 0, that is the LeBlanc getting locked in. So this is going to be probably the Jason towards the top side, LeBlanc mid lane, and they're looking for a jungler right here. What could complement this sort of early game pressure comp that they've got going? I think if you're picking even more early game here, you're putting yourself in a position where you can make so many things happen early. I would love to see the Olaf where you can just invade over and over, but it's gonna be the Nidalee, which I also really enjoy. But I'm gonna wait and talk about why I love the Nidalee here until we've got the last lock-in here.
Absolutely, and the last lock-in could be the Victor for the top lane into the Jace. As you mentioned, the LeBlanc is definitely going to go for mid lane. It's not something that you see in the top lane, although, of course, I mean, a lot of things has happened in League of Legends, and usually you just go for the stronger laners.
Yeah, I think you can honestly send Sion mid here if you want to have Sion just as this big roadblock against the LeBlanc and not get that beneficial matchup for the Jace into the Sion, but it's going to be the Victor probably going towards the mid lane, although they can still swap that around. With that being said, though, I think I can have some time to talk about Dipsy's Nidalee here, which is going to be so exciting to see, because first thing, Cesar is an old Nidalee main. He was known for his Nidalee. I actually asked him specifically about Nidalee before the game here, and he said, yes, I still play Nidalee, but I don't think it's that good of a pick anymore.
So this could be Dipsy proving him wrong, or it could be Cesar knowing exactly how to play versus this Nidalee, who really enjoys to live in the enemy's jungle. But of course, to be able to do that, you need to have all of that lane pressure around to help you in case you get invaded, or rather, in case you get surrounded.
Yeah, and that's why I love the Nidalee pick right here. You've definitely got a pushing top lane where you will be having pressure, no doubt about that. Bottom lane should also be a lane where you're able to push and have pressure, and mid lane should be quite even, but still LeBlanc, I'd still probably give her the early game advantage into the Victor until the Victor is able to upgrade that laser. So Nidalee will have so much freedom to do whatever you want in the enemy jungle, really punish that Sejuani early, but also as we scale later on, Nidalee works so well in this sort of siege poke comp, where you're able to throw out the spears, have the heals for the sustains, and eventually transitioning into more of a supportive playstyle where you're using that heal and attack speed boost on towards the Caitlyn for those sieges. You've also got the traps together with the Caitlyn traps, with the Jace. I think this works out as such a strong sieging comp if you're able to get that big lead early.
Absolutely, and if you get that lead, because if you do not, there is so much potential for a huge engage coming out of Fortress, as they have the Sejuani with the huge CC ultimate. You have the Sion that can ulti and follow up on that as well, together with a lot of burst potential coming out of the Victor. So something that you really have to worry about and have to be prepared to handle if you would fall behind.
And one thing with the comp, which I don't quite like so much, is that they are almost too focused on poking and sieging, or they're almost too good at poking and sieging. So this might sound weird. If you want to play this sort of a siege comp, why wouldn't you just pick 5 champions which are good at sieging? Well, that's kind of too much. You also need some disengage in some sort of a front line, which is, if you're going to go for sort of a Jace, Caitlyn, Nidalee, I really enjoy if you got some defensive support like a Braum or a Tom Kench and maybe a Gragas or something that can be that frontline disengager for you, because right now you are looking extremely squishy, which means that if you're not able to get an early game lead and keep making the sort of fights and sieges happen, you're gonna be hurting so much if you get hard engaged by Sejuani and Sion.
So we need to keep an eye on this early game for Celestial Gaming, as they need to make things happen and they make it happen quickly. You can see here a little bit of a harass on Niter in mid lane as he puts down that ward to make sure that they know where Dipsy is going. Dipsy starting around the red buff though.
They're gonna be getting a leash there from the Sion. Another thing that I think I have to mention here when it comes to what's strong against this sort of a poke comp, I've mentioned the hard engage that you can pull out when there's not that much disengage on Celestial Gaming. The other thing which is really strong up against it is tanks. Tanks don't really care. Yes, you get hit by an Italy Spear, you get hit by a Jace Shock Blast. They don't really care that much. And you've got two of the biggest tanks in the game on the side of Fortress. Sejuani, Sion, and also the Braum, who can put up that Unbreakable versus these poke spells. So I think Fortress have a very strong team comp against Celestial Gaming. If the game goes late, the question is Celestial Gaming going to allow that, or are they going to be getting too big of a lead at sort of 10-15 minutes? You really have to look for Dipsy to be active early on this Nidalee.
Kulberg up in top lane has a huge CS lead so far versus Linux. On his Jace, that is not something that is surprising at all, but he needs to keep it up. Down the bottom lane, as you can see, it's a little bit of a shove-in right now by PlayStation and Genser.
One of the best nicknames in today, I think. Maybe the best one, PlayStation.
I think PlayStation could be today's absolutely best nickname. Maybe not just today's, like possibly anytime.
In the history of the world.
In the history of League of Legends.
Could be.
Well,
Can't actually think of any great ones at the top of my head right now, so let's give it to PlayStation for now.
yeah, congratulations PlayStation, you won that fight. You also won a little bit of a fight down bot lane where Genser actually took, well, he took a bit of damage. Here comes Dipsy looking for the invade, but there are no caps here as Dipsy didn't really ward anything, so he's going in blind. Does not know where Cesar is, and Cesar's just having the time of his life, farming it up.
Absolutely, this is experience speaking. We know Cesar has been in the competitive scene for a long time. He's a very smart jungler, and that's just what he's showing. He knows exactly what Dipsy wants to do. Dipsy wants to invade, he wants to fight him early on, but Cesar, he's 2 camps ahead at the moment, has been able to make Dipsy waste so much time, and he's going to be ganking bottom lane here.
Here he comes, bot lane, forcing the flash, taking the Flay Dye and the Ignite. And those are some huge damage coming out from the turret. So I'm not too sure about that as Cesar went in. It was good that he forced the flash, but then he kind of overcommitted.
Yeah, not the greatest being able to go under the enemy tower right there. Dipsy though, can he make anything happen or will he be forced to recall? What he is doing right now might look like he's not able to make anything happen. Like, he is still giving a lot of freedom to Kulberg right now because Dipsy is showing that there's nothing going on in the top side of the map. Oh, dive mid lane going down.
Forcing the flash, Niter gets away for now, but he's so low on HP. First blood up, I'm not sure where. It happens, Sandia though. Oh, Sandia tanking the turret and somehow dying in that situation. And also that spear is not going to land on anything. So now Dipsy's in a little trouble. Flash forward, coming up. The play is going to make sure that Sandia can jump in. That is Dipsy getting the second kill of the game. A hook not going to land, but that was a spear that you could not dodge if you were Genser. And now it's PlayStation with the triple kill to Dipsy, forcing Cesar to run away for his life.
Wow, that was such an interesting turn of events right there. First, Sandia really messes up in the mid lane. He was safe. He had gotten away from the tower, but then goes back into tower range, thinking that his minions were in range, but they were just outside of that tower. So he took 2 tower shots and went down, but then Dipsy really takes revenge there. Really well done. 3-0 on this Nidalee.
Kulberg now in trouble. He just switched forms. He cannot knock away Cesar. He has no way to get out of this. Not going to sacrifice his flash, instead accepting that he died. And those are some quick pickups by Cesar to make sure that they stay even after that bot lane fiasco.
Yeah, so Dipsy has recalled right now, picked up a Finnish Codex and a Dark Seal. He's looking really strong on this Nidalee, but as I mentioned, you need to keep making things happen right now. You cannot just let Cesar farm up in this matchup. You need to live in his jungle, which is exactly what he's doing, stealing away the enemy wolves. And after this, you really want to go for some sort of a gank. And then this really strong point about Nidalee is that if you're able to get a kill in that gank, you're able to do so much damage to the tower as a follow-up with the attack speed steroid and the heal from your Primal Surge on this Nidalee.
And also, we talked so much about Celestial Gaming having to get ahead in this game, and they are definitely ahead. Although it's not that much gold in the bank as the global gold goes, there's a lot of gold sitting in the hands of Dipsy, the player that you expect to be the big playmaker at this point of the game. And this should be another quick pickup, although it takes a little bit longer than they wanted it to. The final auto attack in the air is going to finish off the life of Niter. Zondia now also starting to look a little bit scary on his LeBlanc.
Yeah, that's a clean combo from Zondia, and you look at that Victor and realize that he's got a null magic mantle in his inventory as well as magic resistance from the runes. So that is with 73 MR he's been able to take down by the level 6 LeBlanc and the level 6 Nidalee. That's how much burst damage that they've got.
Yeah, he's really intercepting his lane to be the main focus right now, going for all of that magic resist versus both Sandia and Dipsy, but still, it isn't enough because Dipsy is just too far ahead.
He is indeed very far ahead, able to get those kills for himself, but you don't scale the greatest on the Nidalee, so honestly, not sure if you want all this gold on yourself for... Like, at this point, it's still good for him to take all of the kills, but after this point, I think you'd really like for the kills to be given over to your teammates. As with the Nidalee, yes, you can go for that sort of full AP build, maybe with a Lich Bane, and then try to jump in and just assassinate people, but up against the tanky frontline with all the CC, that is going to be very hard for him to do later on.
He did sacrifice a lot of HP though, just to make sure Zondia got that kill in the middle, in that safe kill they had on Niter. So it seems to be something that he is aware of though. As you can see, he is 1k goal ahead, and I feel like he doesn't really need that much more. That is the goal he got from those 3 kills. And it seems like it's enough to make this Nidalee just control the jungle for now. You can see Cesar struggling to keep up, even invading a little bit, getting some lost hits off it, but he's been trying to go for ganks many times now and not quite finding anything with it.
Yeah, so I'd love to see for Dipsy to be able to transition this pressure that he's got to something more than just a farm lead for himself. Love for him to be able to target the tower platings of the enemy team. So if you're able to gank bottom lane and push it. Speaking of bottom lane though.
Yeah, the bottom lane has gone down. PlayStation is the first one to go, but a huge arcane comment will be enough to pick this up and turning this fight around under the turret, forcing the flash, and the Triumph will just barely keep Cesar alive. I think he has... Does he play Triumph though? As I saw his life get back up, but then I thought, that's a weird rune to go with Sejuani. Maybe that was the red buff, I'm not sure, but he got the kill, no matter what.
Definitely got the kill right there and able to get out as well, so still a good turn of events as bottom lane had been taking a lot of pressure. 2 plates gone down already, we're not even 10 minutes in, and that gold has been able to go over to Ambivert and Eski on this bottom side. Dipsy though might be getting caught out here. Knight could...
Is there any follow-up? Oh, that was a really good little outplay Dipsy managed to do. Got over the wall, and PlayStation stayed on the other side.
Yeah, definitely going on right here with a bit of an early game lead for Celestial Gaming, around 2K here. Don't do math on stream, guys. Still, we have the question, is that going to be enough if they're able to secure this Ocean Dragon? That could be a very important step towards securing an even larger early game lead, because it's so strong with a mana-reliant team comp, and with these champions, with Nidalee, Jace, LeBlanc, you're very reliant on having the mana.
A little bit of a weird position right here to start the Dragon, as the rest of the team wasn't really in position for it, so that was a Dragon donated right now to Fortress, as Dipsy tried to sort of sneak it, but even though Nidalee has a lot of damage, it's not very tanky, so trying to solo that Dragon really put him down on low HP.
Yeah, for sure, able to get some tower platings here for Kohlberg, but still, A bit of gold on the Jace. Yes, it's going to be good now. That's going to be good as you finish up your first like 1.5 items, but after that, getting the team gold and getting the team buff from the Ocean Dragon is going to be the stronger thing. So I don't think Fortress are too sad giving a bit of gold over to the Jace, because frankly, there aren't really any big backline targets for him to assassinate if Cesar and Lineups as well as PlayStation do their job and peel for the backline of Victor and Ezreal.
Cesar's down bot lane again, coming out from the Fog of War, going for the turret dive, immediately focusing the Thresh, so the Lantern doesn't really do that much. That is another pickup, and great focus by Cesar.
Yeah, very intelligent to target the Thresh right there, because obviously... Oh, there's going to be a dive here.
Yeah, going for the second dive, but landing on the turret though. Still tanky enough to tank the turret forever, so picking up the second kill. 3 versus 1 in the mid lane. Another one though, it's Niter going down, so Celestial Gaming quick to respond.
And Sang, I think these junglers are showing their goals with the game. Dipsy wants to take down this mid lane tower to allow Sandia to roam a lot and get a big gold lead from the tower platings, while Cesar's big focus is to get Jensen ahead on this Ezreal.
And this is what you talked about earlier, Nidalee being so strong at getting those turrets. You get the kill, and you get the turret with the extra auto-attack speed that you get. A little bit of a 1 versus 3 down there, as Eski isn't scared to pick up a fight. No Spears is going to appear out of the Fog of War for now, and there is no dragon to pick up either, so Celestial Gaming getting some global gold, yet again still staying ahead of this, but the bottom lane, that is the main problem they have right now.
Yeah, for sure. Sister's going to be able to get away here with the Aftershock though, because that is a balanced keystone. Anyway, Dipsy looking for something to catch here, and he's so aggressive on this mid lane.
Is going to find this? Doesn't quite look like it as Cesar is there to block the spears. I was a little bit worried there as Jensen kind of just walked up.
But there are more towers going down in towards the bottom side. I might not have time to speak about that, but now though.
2 versus 1 up top lane, but Coolberg manages to just barely get away with a good, well-timed flash. Down bot lane, as you were mentioning, the turret platings are falling quickly, as the Caitlyn is not too shabby at killing turrets either. So just looking at the individual gold of all of these players, you can see that Dipsy has picked up so much for himself. But on the other hand, Cesar, when he's gone for these ganks, he's been able to donate most of his gold instead to the bot lane. So Jensen looking very strong on his Ezreal as well.
Yeah, for sure, and this is what we talked about with the siege comp of Celestial Gaming, already taken down the mid lane tower, and have gotten 3 tower plates on both of the side lane tier 1 towers, so doing such a good job when it comes to that sieging, but they need to keep up the pressure. They can never allow Fortress a few minutes to breathe, because if they're able to farm up this big front line, get this Ezreal and Victor to the big item timings, which they scaled so well with, they're going to be having such a rough time, so they need to keep this up, and Dipsy is the man to do it. Whichever lane he chooses to go for is going to be the point of pressure, and I would love for him to try and secure that bottom lane tower and then be able to open up the whole bottom side of the map.
And that's the main thing right now, because Dipsy is the player with the most gold on Celestial Gaming, so he's hogging that bank that they're having right now, and where he decides to go with it, it's so important. The bot lane has been struggling forever. The mid lane right now, Niter can play so far back, because he doesn't really worry anymore. His turret's already dead, they got the gold, but what do they do with it now? You can see the bot lane focus again. Cesar is down bot lane, and he's even between turrets right now. He's going to avoid the death sentence, just getting away, managing to make sure they're gonna secure another dragon, as the Rift Herald instead is the focus for Dipsy.
I think these games are so interesting, Sang, because, oh, good dodge away from Lineups.
That's a very smart dodge, and it looks like Lineups is safe. For now, at least. Understood, but no, flash forward with the Ignite on him. I think he's gonna survive it, actually. And oh, Sandia! The turrets are not his friend, as Sandia goes down yet again to a decimating turret shot. A fantastic flash away by the bot lane for Celestial Gaming. I'm sorry about that. Is going to make sure that he survives it for now. Another flash try to get Cesar away in this bad situation. Death Sentence is going to land, but it's a 2 versus 4. It doesn't look too good for Celestial Gamers. They're running for their lives, although Dipsy has arrived to save the day. Another flash, so many flashes all over. Death Sentence ready to be used again. It's a 3 versus 4. It's up to Dipsy to land these spears, just barely. Nitro avoids it.
Coming in from Kolberg.
Oh, is he going to use it though? Is it coming in? Kolberg not going to be able to get that flank from now, but they are ready to go for the dragon.
Yeah, Smite goes down for Possessor there, so it's able to secure that vision, and movement speed is going to be very important. Sandia is coming in on the LeBlanc and the Jace from Kolberg as well, so they're really looking for this Cloud Dragon, while Linux is still up towards the top side on this Scion, so yes, he'll be able to get some of this tower damage with the Demolish, but still this is a 5 versus 4. Oh, Dipsy!
Dipsy!
What are you doing?
Not only face checking, leaping into the danger. Oh, the shock blast of doom lands, and Sadia chases this one down on the turret. Is actually going to survive the turret this time around, but one who's not going to survive is PlayStation. It's the triple kill now for Kolberg, and Linux up top lane with a measly turret to show for all of that aggression down bot lane.
Very importantly, Celestial Gaming realizes what they need to do. They realize that we're playing on a time and we need to get a substantial advantage at this point in the game. And they realize the way to do that is to group and force a fight. Poke lands from Dipsy. Amazing poke lands from Kolberg as well, and Sandia has so much pressure on this LeBlanc as well. So I really love this game because there are two very clear team comps. There's the play for late team fights comp, and there's the we need to get a lead early game comp. And both of them are actually playing it quite well according to their win conditions.
Absolutely. Looking at the late game plan here for Fortress, with the Ezreal scaling really well, making sure that he picks up a few of those kills in these fights. But the big turning point there was that they managed to get Dipsy. They thought they were safe, and all of a sudden, out of the shadows comes a huge shock blast, which instantly kills 2 of them, leaving the last one scattering, running for his life. Now the Cloud Dragon, usually a dragon that a lot of teams don't really prioritize. If you can get it for free, it's always very good, but on this team, with all the mobility that you need to put even more pressure, I think Celestial Gaming are very happy with this. They don't really care that much, I think, about the Infernal Dragon right now.
Yeah, I think the Ocean that they've already been able to pick up. No, sorry, Ocean went over to Fortress. But the Cloud Dragon here is definitely a strong point. Can't see this guy though, Cesar on this giant pig. He's been having a good early game, and he's importantly been able to get that shutdown onto Dipsy, which means that he's been able to pick up the Warmock's armor, which is such an important item versus these Pocom.
If you can sneak a Rift Herald in behind a turret, does that count as backdooring?
Oh, I'm not so sure if Dipsy cares so much about that question right now, because he might be caught out.
Yeah, Dipsy doesn't really care too much about it though, as he was blocking that ultimate, was no damage follow-up by the Braum. And Rift Herald somehow, though tanking the turret for the longest time, actually stayed alive through all of that. Now finally going down, they got the turret, and Dipsy still alive and happy.
Able to get away on this Nidalee, and you can see it's almost back to full HP already because of those heals that you've got built into your kit. So much poke here though, forcing the flash.
Immediately is Niter. Not having the best game right now on his Victor. Spear not going to hit anything though. Cesar taking a lot of damage, getting CC'd, slowed down, and Zombia picks him up, jumping over the wall back again. He's going to deal so much damage on his LeBlanc's been able to pop off, though not getting too many kills, just with the CS and with the presence that his team has, really showing off on this LeBlanc.
Okay, so Sang, I'm gonna be honest here. I doubted Celestial Gaming. They pick a comp that's quite hard to execute, where you always need to keep up the pressure. You need to keep landing the poke and get the towers down in order not to fall behind here. And they've been able to do it. So far, they've been able to execute this quite well. We are 20 minutes in, and they've got a decent gold lead. They've been able to keep the pressure up, gotten ahead on the positions where it really matters. So I am impressed by Celestial Gaming. If they're playing this well, I can understand how they took a win against Ventus.
Absolutely, I love to see this Celestial Gaming. Like, Celestial have been playing League of Legends for such a long time, and what I always felt like this, they were sort of strong, but not the best at anything. Looking at them right now, really making this plan work, executing it in such a dominant fashion. I love it. Like, there are some flaws, definitely. They're making some overcommitments on getting caught out under turrets from time to time, but still, like, It's so wonderful to see them play at this level.
Yeah, they cannot stop here though. They need to keep the pressure up, make things happen, because if Fortress gets some time to breathe, get some time to free farm, they're going to be having such a strong team comp for those late game team fights. I mean, even at this point, if Celestial Gaming ever oversteps and they're walked into like a Sejuani ultimate followed up by a Sion engage, that will be such a hard time for them, because they don't really have a good way of dealing with tanks at the moment. You've got LeBlanc, who uses her burst on one target. Really not good at dealing with tanks. Caitlyn, yes, she can deal with tanks later on after she got a Last Whisper, but not at this point. No percentage HP scalings on her, and the Jace building lethality and the Nidalee with the poke, not good at dealing with tanks either. So Fortress, they do have a good comp to come back from this deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Fortress definitely have the scaling advantage. And that's what we've been talking about. That's why it's so important for Celestial Gaming to keep up this pressure. And this situation right now is worrying me just a little bit, because Celestial Gaming are sort of letting up right now. They're recalling, they're getting their items. Of course, you need to have that, but at the same time, like, it's such an important just breather for Fortress to have, where Celestial Gaming are not hiding in bushes, where they are not just picking up anyone that dares to venture out of the safe zone of the turrets.
For sure, and I think the correct lane assignments right now for Celestial is sending Kolberg bottom. In the 1v1, Sion is not going to be able to kill, Jace is not going to be able to kill the Sion, but he will get a farm lead and he will be able to proc that Kleptomancy. While the other 4 members of the map just hang around the Baron and look for picks. Speaking of picks though...
Picks! Dipsy is in a heap of trouble. He has a flash. Oh, fantastic flash!
Ezreal ulti!
Oh, the Ezreal Arcane Barrage! Not going to be able to find its mark. Dipsy gets away, even gets a cheeky spear in there just for good measure, and a turret has fallen while they managed to do it. Oh, I'm not sure if that was luck or skill by Dipsy to be able to get out of that situation, but the timing of everything in that fight was just perfect, just showing how well coordinated Celestial Gaming are as a team. We talked about it, the sort of coordinated team, the veterans versus the individual skilled players from Denmark, and this is a perfect example of it.
Absolutely, being able to pick up the second Cloud Dragon there, maybe not the one you're the most happy with, but this is what you really want to do, set up around the Baron. With the poke comp that you've got going on for yourself, being able to secure the vision here, force the enemy to come in and phase check, you're going to be able to burst somebody down. And I mean, even if it's Sejuani or Sion, phase checking or getting hit by a LeBlanc combo and a spear, I think that Celestial Gaming are far enough ahead to be able to burst down a tank even.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, as they can still burst down a tank, at least I think Sejuani or Braum would no problem. Maybe not Lineups, as he is stacking up that resistance quite a bit. He has the extra HP, he has the... sorry, I forgot about it, but it's a big team fight right now as Dipsy yet again benches too far in. Zandia, though, somehow coming up from behind, turning it around. The huge Arcane Barrage not going to hit anything! And that would have been huge if Jensen would have been able to pick up something at least from it. Now stepping on a trap, it's Setzer in a heap of trouble. Chasing this down, though. Is everyone going to survive this? Yes, he is. Jumping up towards Dipsy. Now chasing down Jensen instead. Turning it around, ignoring the Sion completely as he's only tanky, does not deal any damage. The Death Sentence hits, and the flash is going to be a defensive one as Lineups runs for his life. It's the perfect fight for Celestial Gaming, getting the Baron as well as the huge prize for that fight.
And the bait from Dipsy once again! This is really not a time where Fortress wants to fight. As we said, they just want to scale up, but Dipsy walks up into the enemy jungle, looks so vulnerable on this Nidalee. Please engage on me, use all your spells on me! And he's able to jump away, heal up, get out of there, and force Fortress to go for this big 5 versus 5 fight. Dipsy baiting the entire enemy team 2 times in a row. He is rewarded with a Baron and an 8,000 gold lead. This is going to be a very difficult siege to defend from if you're Team Fortress.
Like, that's the voice you want to go with for Nidalee?
Yeah, she's kind of squeaky like that, isn't she?
No, she has like a dark, mature voice. You make it sound like a leprechaun, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, she's
but
a cougar, I forgot.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, but I agree with you. Definitely, I agree with you. That was amazing. Dipsy yet again ventures too far, and somehow, I don't know how, but somehow he manages to survive. And only thing I can think of is that Celestial Gaming, all of these little like micro things they do working together as this machine that they are, making it all look planned, but really they're just perfect at responding to whatever the other players are doing. They know each other so well.
Absolutely, and I think that Celestial, you need to set up a siege quite quickly right now, and this mid lane siege is going to be so obnoxious to deal with. You've got Ambivert having maxed out the traps at the moment, so that's going to be 5 Caitlyn traps just at the entrance right there, with Dipsy's traps on top of that, and then Dipsy being able to give Ambivert 60% bonus attack speed with that E, the Primal Surge. This is going to be very hard to defend from with the Baron minions as well. Just look for the Caitlyn traps to go down. How do you deal with this? You have to go for some sort of a hard engage somewhere, but I'm not sure which lane would be the correct choice to go for with a Sion Sejuani engage.
And who to engage on? There are so many damage threats. And as we could see, the Sion, he was tanky, but when they got split up, he couldn't really do anything. He didn't have any damage. Big Fight Bottom is going to bring out the ultimate by Niter, but Niter has not been having the game of his life. It's now 1-4-1 versus Zondia, having a lot of trouble right now just to keep this lane safe. Zondia is pushing down the turret with the Baron buff in the mid lane as well. Getting the first turret there, opening up the inhibitor. That's the bot lane, top lane turret as well. Both the turn about to fall also. So many threats. Celestial Gaming executing their game plan perfectly.
Yeah, very nice execution here. You can see why this Nidalee Caitlyn classic combo is so strong.
Here it comes! Zonya's is going to be used immediately by Dipsy. Can he survive yet again? Another great survival attempt going away. But are they going to sacrifice someone? Zonya now red HP. And their support, Eski, has to sacrifice his life to make sure that the rest of the team gets away. But in the base, there is Kuhlberg running away, though, managed to get some auto attack off on that turret. Dipsy gets Cesar while that happens.
You need to defend your base.
Gaming going in for the base. Kuhlberg being chased up top lane, ignoring all of it. Dipsy running away yet again. Jenser does not know what he's supposed to hit. There are minions, there are champions, there are splits pushing everywhere, and Kuhlberg with a sliver of HP. He doesn't even care about it. He's still pushing.
What an insane fight right there, but Fortress in the end holds on, and still only a 10k gold lead for Celestial Gaming. Of course, that's not the big thing. The big thing is that they've been taking down 3 inhibitors. Also going to be securing this Infernal Dragon. But when they go for the next reset, you've got the recalls coming down right here. You buy your next type of items, and then you're pushing in with 3 waves with Baron buff super minions. Okay, Baron buff actually ran out, but still it's going to be 3 lanes of super minions. Can Fortress deal with that?
And 1 turret for them to hide under before the Nexus opens up. And look at Zondia coming out of the dark. Though a little good sidestep there by Niter. Will avoid the death sentence. Zondia still pushing this, waiting now patiently for these minions. This is up to Celestial Gaming now. They can decide this if they play it decisively and slow enough just to wait for these minions to come and help them. And if no one is caught out, they should definitely be able to win this. This should be their game.
Absolutely. Seraph's Embrace transformation is 20 mana off right now, so Jensen really wants to just use a few more spells to be able to unlock that Seraph's shield for this next fight. This could prove to be very crucial. But Fortress, you need to go for some sort of engage quite soon. You do have all the tools, but Glacial Prison already being used and missed.
And again, with all of these lanterns, you can hear the Sion ultimate and the lantern saving his ADC. His Ambivert going ham now on the front line, chasing down Jenser on the side, also getting the turret while that happens. Focus on the Sion. Now Nexus is wide open, Sion has nowhere to run. A big Glacial Fissure is not going to hit anything. and Eski is running away from that. Everything is absolutely chaos right now. Gypsy getting Linux and forcing everyone to run away. This is Fortress trying to defend this with their lives. But can they do it? You can see the auto attacks. They cannot. That is it. That is the game. And Celestial Gaming controlling it from minute one.
Minions too strong right there towards the end, but I am so impressed by Celestial Gaming when I watch these type of teams that, like, they're not the strongest individually. They're not like at the top of the standings in the Nordic Championship when it comes to just the individual talent. What I usually say is don't try to play team comps that are very hard to execute. Like, go for the easier to execute team comps. Celestial Gaming just say, you're wrong, Henning. We're just gonna play a really hard to execute team comp and do it really, really well. Always keeping up the pressure with the Nidalee, getting like the triple kill before level 6. Such a strong performance.
Like, I think that was, for me, like to see Celestial Gaming playing at their perfect level. I loved it because I've seen so many Celestial Gaming games, and I've never seen them play like this. So kudos for that, making me so excited to see the next game between Celestial Gaming and Fortress. And happy for me, that will not be too long as we're going to a quick break and we'll be right back. So do not go anywhere.